Things are working for them as well. There was snow in Green Bay, but it did not slow down the Packers in their blowout win against the Titans yesterday. Aaron Rodgers added to his league lead with 4 touchdown passes, including 3 to Devontae Adams. Packers have now won 5 straight games, but have to wait till next week to clinch home field advantage. After the game, Rodgers said, quote, "It's tough to play at Lambeau. I think we proved that tonight." So, Acho, with your new colors, what did you learn from the Packers win?
Well, let's start with the most important thing I learned, which is I think the Packers are the only team in the National Football League that can beat the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
I'll start there. They're
That's
the only team in the league that can beat the Chiefs.
And the
Packers
Raiders.
fans, you should get excited.
And the Raiders. Oh, sorry, too much.
Packers fans, you should get excited because now y'all are the one team, I think, of all the teams in the league that can go out there and really go blow for blow. Remember, Marcellus, we knows what it will take to go through the big dogs. That's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to take points. Packers, they got the most games this season with 40-plus points. And it's not like the Packers go in stages. They started the season with a 40-point game. Week 16, they just played a 40-point game. This isn't a Packers team that's been up and been down. They started the season hot, then got cold, and got... No. This is a Packers team that's been consistently good. You got to be consistently good to be great. That's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned is having home field advantage for these Packers, that's the difference maker. That's
going to be it this year, finally.
Now, remember, like, Aaron Rodgers, he won his Super Bowl going on the road. We remember that. I think they were 10-6 that year, but he won his Super Bowl going on the road. But this difference, think about this. Titans are a good team now, especially offensively. Titans have also put up 4 40-point games. They're a good team offensively, but still playing in that cold. Oh, they say fatigue makes a coward out of all men. The cold also makes a coward out of all men. Bro, I remember 2014, I go to Lambeau. I'm with the Eagles at the time. We were down 30-3 at halftime. I go back into the locker room, and I was like, I didn't want to come back out. I'm being honest, America. I'm sorry. I didn't want to come back out. I was just like, you know what? We're down 30-3. Aaron Rodgers was cooking. So when I think about a Titans team that is a hard-nosed, physical, aggressive team, and they did not want to be there for the first 2 quarters. For 2 straight quarters, I was like, yo, they don't want to be there. I'm thinking, yo, this home field might be the difference maker because think about it, Sel. You got the Buccaneers, and think about the NFC. Think about the teams in the NFC who are going to be in the playoffs. Seahawks, not used to cold weather. Bucks, not used to cold weather. Rams, not used to cold weather. If the Cardinals make it, not used to cold weather. Like the Washington, the football team, they might be the only team, and then the Bears, obviously, if the Bears make it, that are used to that environment. So the biggest 2 things I've learned were, 1, the Packers are capable of beating the Chiefs, and 2, by the Packers winning, if they win again and clinch home field advantage, I don't know who in the NFC is trying to go through Lambeau to take this thing.
I like. You start off with a lie, but you start to bring some truth. The only team that can go... All right, calm down now. We don't know about that. That's a hypothetical going forward.
Is, of course.
But if you look backwards, we're already seeing a team that handled the Chiefs before. Okay, let's talk about what I learned. What I learned is this is a team that when the lights are the brightest, it will shine its brightest. And more importantly, its leader will be the leading reason why they're going to play so well in those big games. 6-0 in primetime games this year. You talk about primetime games a lot because it just shows that when you know you need it or all eyes are on you, you're ready for those moments. And that's something about Aaron Rodgers that is interesting, his mental makeup. He never blinks in those moments. I know everyone says, only 1 ring, Aaron Rodgers. Well, this is a guy who's put his team in position to go into the NFC Championship game 4 times. All on the road. Only won that 1 time when they won their Super Bowl. 1 in 3 NFC Championship games, all on the road. But it looks like it could play out this year where they could be at home. Now, it's interesting. Is home field advantage really home field advantage? No one's in the crowd. There are more people in the studio right now that's going to be at Lambeau whenever this happens, if it happens in January, right? But Aaron Rodgers, his mental makeup is something that's infectious to this team. Aaron Rodgers is internally motivated. I know this for a fact without only seeing Aaron Rodgers a few times in my life, and it's been distant and maybe even cold at times, our interactions. He doesn't like me because I talk about quarterbacks. He said, you ain't play quarterback. I'm like, well, you ain't played DN, but you be trying to look at a DN and talk about it. Anyway, we've had our beef. Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers, because he's internally motivated, don't give a damn about the crowd. Whether you're rooting for me or rooting against me, Aaron Rodgers balls out. Why is he always falling short in NFC Championship games? Because the defense averages allowed 36 points a game. They give up 36 before Aaron Rodgers even get warmed up. Now, Aaron Rodgers realizes this year, our defense, especially our rush defense, is looking pretty good right now. Have you seen the numbers from this rush defense of late? We saw last night, 98 yards, 20 carries by Derrick Henry. Now, you could say that's kind of still a good game, but this is Derrick Henry, who averages, it seems like 300 yards a game, who only has 98. That 45-yard run by Tannehill was really accredited to Derrick Henry because of the focus on it. But the point is, we saw him do it to Mike Davis, 4 yards a carry. We saw him do it to DeAndre Swift, 3 yards a carry. Point being, if their defense just goes out there and lets their leader, who shines the brightest in these moments, and is also going to stay internally contained and motivated, this is a squad right here.
I think the other thing that I noticed that was huge in watching this game is very simple. I think we take Aaron Rodgers for granted.
We do?
You think we do? Fact, I'll say I know we do.
Okay.
Here's what I mean. I remember 2 weeks ago when there were debates about GOATs amongst all different sports, and I heard someone say that Aaron Rodgers is like LeBron James if Tom Brady is Michael Jordan, right? I think they were drawing that parallel because Rodgers is really good but doesn't have the rings that Tom Brady has. But then I thought about it, so I said, no. Aaron Rodgers is more like Kevin Durant. Right, playing in the same era as LeBron James, who was great, and so he doesn't get the respect he's due. But Aaron Rodgers, because we saw this new bright, shiny toy and Patrick Mahomes, we forgot just how good Aaron Rodgers was. I'm watching this game yesterday. I'm like, wait a second. Aaron Rodgers is still the best quarterback in the National Football League. Now,
better than Patrick.
Yes. Patrick Mahomes might have more help. Patrick Mahomes might have a better coach. Patrick Mahomes might have a better offensive mind and offensive coordinator. But I don't know how you can watch Aaron Rodgers do what he does, not just for 1 year, not just for 2 years, not as a flash in the pan and say, Aaron Rodgers is good, but, I don't like him all that much. Like, let me just bring up the full screen. Don't sleep on A-Rod, please. Let me bring up this full screen.
What you got there?
Only quarterback in NFL history with 3 seasons of 40-plus passing touchdowns. 8 or fewer interceptions in his last 10 seasons. In each of his last season for the last 10 seasons. Like, Aaron Rodgers hasn't just been great sell for 2 years, for 3 years. No, he's not a flash in the pan. Even in his down years, his last 2 years, he had 50 touchdowns with 6 interceptions combined the last 2 years. So as I'm watching this game still, I'm like, we really take this man, Aaron Rodgers, for granted. I would go as far as to say Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the National Football League because of how long he's also been great. Patrick Mahomes has been great. We know that.
Man.
But Aaron Rodgers has been, I would say, as good as Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's just done it for longer.
Yeah.
And we don't actually give him any credit for that.
Damn, you flipped. I mean, you flipped. For you, that's a flip.
I still think the Chiefs are better.
Okay.
But I think that Aaron Rodgers... I'm watching it.
I heard every word.
I'm watching it, bro, and I'm like, how are we taking for granted 4 touchdowns and 4 incompletions in a downpour of snow? Like, I don't get, how are we taking for granted? The dude went 21 for 25 with 4 touchdowns and 1 pick in all this snow and all this weather, and he's been doing it for years. I was just like, nah, we're taking it for granted. I'm not doing it any longer.
And led him on 5 scoring drives. You talk about the fact that... Here's the thing about Aaron Rodgers. You had a lot of eggnog over the holidays, I can see, because if you start to do flips like this off of one game when the evidence, the resume has been here, it's interesting. We had this argument before. I feel like we really are in a relationship. We arguing over the same thing. I told you, Aaron Rodgers had a slight decline for him the last year or so, 2 years. And then he picked it up this year because he realized all eyes on me and no one was here to support me fully. That's why I love his mental makeup, because this is a guy who realized